The peace, the quiet, the escape from it all. The wildlife that calls this home. The endless miles of canal and river. The special places we all can roam.
But hang on a minute. Who looks after it all?
These people do, and they need your help.
One of the big challenges for the Canal and River Trust is making sure there's enough water in the canals to keep all these boats afloat. But given how much rain we have, how hard can that possibly be? Well, come along and have a look, they said. So here I am. Welcome to Fradley Junction.
This famous T-junction is where the Coventry Canal joins the Trent and Mersey. In the summer, it's one of the busiest places on our inland waterways. But now, over winter, it's much quieter. So the perfect time to crack on with some essential underwater maintenance.
So Peter, what is the problem here?
The canal's silting up. It's a natural problem for canals. They're man-made channels. We've got streams bringing silt in. You've got trees and other vegetation dropping leaf litter and what have you into it. You've got the banks eroding, and all of that just accumulates over time. So we have to routinely come in and dredge sections of the canal out. Most canals would only need dredging every 20 or 25 years. This is the third time we've been here in about 10 or 15 years. This is an area that seems to be prone to siltation, possibly because the number of locks and the number of boats is a very busy area. I think those are just combining to mean that lots of silt is waiting up here, and that's why we have to keep coming back to it.
And how long will you be here?
This is about a 6 to 7 week project.
The plan is to dredge about 3.5 kilometres of the canal. The engineers reckon there could be as much as 5,000 tonnes of silt and sludge to get shot of. So over the next couple of months, this little digger will be putting in some big shifts.
So this has specifically been made, this barge, to do this dredging work.
Completely custom fabricated. We chose everything we liked about certain dredgers and stuff we didn't like about others, and we put it all together to make what we think is the best one.
Don't be fooled by Rowan's chilled vibe. He's a demon dredger and really quick. So a pair of tiny tugs shuttle back and forth to keep him supplied with empty hoppers. Each one can hold around 15 to 20 tonnes of silt. Think of them as floating skips.
Once I'm full, there should be one coming round corner to take that one off me and back down. Once you get it set up right, it is very smooth sailing. There's a lot of material coming out of this canal, definitely.
To see where it all ends up, I hitch a ride with the singing skipper.
Do you know, one of the jobs I was on, we weren't allowed to have radios, but mostly I think you are. But
You prefer singing?
I just sing.
At full chug, it'll take over an hour to shove this heavy hopper to where it'll be emptied. So I hop off en route to do a bit of digging myself.
This is the most brilliant bit of iconic canal country.
Fradley Junction was a really important point on the waterway. It would have been a real hub of activity for people with the boats and the horses. You could have come along here and got everything you needed as a boatman. There would have been a blacksmith, a joiner, the pub that's been here over 250 years, the stables for your horses. There was a warehouse, a dry dock, so you could have done any maintenance or repair work. It would have been very busy, lots going on, and yeah, a real hive of activity. There's just heritage all around for people to see.
This is history for all of us.
Yeah, it's for everybody, and the canals were such a focal point of the Industrial Revolution and developing Britain into the country it is today, so it's very much everybody's history.
Of course, a lot has changed on the canals over the last 250 years, but when it comes to dredging, Two questions are as old as time. Where should I dig? And how much should I dig out?
OK, so we have a target depth through the waterway, which here is 1.1 metres, which is 3'6". That's our kind of minimum level. If it's shallower than that, we start to flag it for dredging. We actually dredge it much deeper than that, probably 4'6", 1.35 metres, to obviously remove as much material as possible. We can't just dive straight in and start digging because it's underwater, you can't see what you're doing. There's a bit of science behind it. We have a team that survey the canals on a rolling programme, so every bit of the waterway gets covered every 4 or 5 years. They're using sonar, so that's sound waves that bounce off the bed and come back, and that tells us how deep it is. The computer then gives us a 3D model, a picture of what the canal bed looks like, and my team then applies some colour coding to that based on critical depths. And they produce plans like this for us. And this is the one for Fradley Junction. So as long as we've got blue and green in the centre of the channel, then we're happy, because in general, along a canal, we're only looking to make sure that there's a nice deep, wide channel in the middle. What the charts show us with the yellow and red is if that's at the edges, that's okay, but when that comes into the middle, that's telling us that that's somewhere that needs to dredge. And then we're looking at what the customers are telling us about where they're particularly having problems, and that helps us zero in on specific sections.
With all this heavy engineering going on, spare a thought for those who live here. Yes, them, of course, but not just them.
There's an absolute profusion of life in here. We've got small fish, such as stone loach. We get eels swimming through here. They come from the River Trent, nearby Alruas. They're fed on by bigger fish, such as pike, and then which in turn are fed on by species such as otters, but also birds such as kingfishers as well.
So how does the dredging process impact those species in the canal?
In the short term, it increases the turbidity, the cloudiness of the water, so it can cause disruption to them. But in the long run, it opens up the water channel, gives them more open water to live in, and reduces turbidity, so it benefits them in the long run.
So the team here is really focused on protecting this precious habitat. Before dredging, they survey the area to make sure any protected species won't be disturbed. Water quality is monitored and silt is checked and tested to decide where it can be disposed of safely. Here it's clean enough to spread on this neighbouring farmland.
Just in terms of dredging, this is like one bit of a 2,000-mile network.
The network's so big that we dredge one bit, and although we don't have to come back to that bit for 20, 25 years, there's plenty of other sections lining up that need doing as well. So we are just moving from section to section. We could keep the contractors working flat out all through the year. We don't actually have enough money to do that. And even when the contractors are not working, we're all out planning the next round of projects. So we're already looking at what we're going to be doing next winter and the winter after that. It is a never-ending task.
Where would our canal system be without the Canal and River Trust charity?
This isn't something that will just survive on its own if you do nothing. This is something that you and your children and your grandchildren will only have if you do something about it now. If people don't care for these waterways that they're using and enjoying, then they won't be here in another 50 years' time.
When a bridge is rebuilt or a tired old lock refurbished, everybody notices. It's really obvious. But dredging is different. The regulars will know it's happened, but most people who visit Fradley Junction next summer will be none the wiser. It's a really good example of the huge amount of hidden maintenance that has to go on to keep the canals alive for boaters, for wildlife, for all of us. And it's down to the Canal and River Trust to get all this vital engineering work done. But as a charity, they need your help.
You can take action and make a difference by supporting our work with a gift today.
You can easily donate by scanning the QR codes on the screen.
Alternatively, text Canals 8 to 70460 to give £8. Text Canals 12 to 70460 to give £12. Text Canals 20 to 70460 to give £20.
Your gift today will help us to protect your local waterways for future generations and help canals thrive.
Tell you what, thirsty work, this dredging. Oh, sorry, what are you having?